Stop right there.
Could we throwing that? Could we add that? You think you have goals, don't you? A lot of people do. Perhaps getting some sort of vision or goal of where you want your life to be is the first step towards any sort of change. But the problem with goal setting is that goal setting, at least in the modern world as we know it, is fundamentally broken. And the reason it's broken is because we don't set goals that truly come from within us. We set goals based on outside programming. It's the media, it's television, it's politicians, it's commercials. It is some of the world's most brilliant minds who are designing algorithms on everything from Google to Instagram to Facebook to design to tell you who you should be, what you should buy, and what type of life you should lead. And one of the biggest curses that we've created in our modern world is that our entire education system is designed to make us think that the point of life is two things. It's how much money you have in your bank account, and it's what title you have in your career. But we know that human beings are so much more. What about having goals or visions for our romantic life? What about having goals or visions for the type of parent we want to be, or for our physical health, or for our spirituality, or for the emotional states we want to wake up to, or for our character, or for the way we travel and experience the world? Most people forget this, and so many people today lead miserable, wretched lives. And the reason is we are programmed wrongly, and goal setting is broken. Which is why at Mindvalley we just don't teach goal setting. It is a bullshit idea the way it exists today. I don't do it. I don't ask my people to do it. I don't want my kids doing it. What I want them doing is a process called Lifebook. Lifebook is fundamentally different from goal setting. Lifebook is about being able to listen to that voice within a framework where you actually create a vision for your life that is complete, that's holistic, that is so real. It's as if your soul's purpose, it's as if every dream that you've ever had as a child suddenly becomes possible. And it takes traditional goal setting, crushes it, and tosses it into a garbage bin. In this masterclass, you're going to learn the first step to this process. You're going to learn the importance of creating a vision for your life and how we often do it wrong, and what are some of the right steps to go through.
I gotta tell you, when I went through Lifebook, it was the absolute best decision I could have ever made.
Lifebook makes you look deeply in each category of your life.
There are areas that I've never focused on.
I've never gone through a program that allowed me the space, the opportunity, the content, and the direction to so thoroughly orchestrate and navigate my future.
The clarity that Lifebook has given me is to be able to live all those different areas in balance, which overall helps me to achieve my vision and what I want in life.
There's no way I could have just sat down and done this myself, but to have it all systematized for me, spelled out in videos and workbooks, and ultimately designed into this beautiful, powerful book for my life book. It is life-changing.
I think the biggest outtake for me is the importance of planning your life in general.
It's about deep reflection and really gaining that clarity in each and every single category.
Your guest today, our teacher, is a couple that's perhaps two of the most fascinating human beings I've ever encountered in my life. And as you hear their story and as you go to this masterclass, you'll understand why I'm obsessed with Lifebook, why everybody in Mindvalley, as soon as you join our company in your first month, we send you off to a mountain retreat for 4 days to create your Lifebook. Why my Lifebook, this leather-bound journal over here, is perhaps the most important possession in my life, because in this is a map, is a plan for everything I want to be, everything I want to do, and the type of life I want to lead in every dimension. From my identity as a father, to my identity as a spouse, to my identity as a person working in my career, to the way I travel, to the way I wake up, to the way I live, to the way I practice my spirituality, to the way I treat my body. Everything is planned in this book. And this book serves as a guidepost to how I want to be. This is the book of vision. And everyone who does Lifebook has a book like this. So the creators of this system are a couple, John and Missy Butcher, who came from really simple means, basically farm country in Illinois. And they ended up creating this life that is so remarkable, but it was a life that was so deliberate that other people had to figure out how John and Missy got to where they are. Now, this is their life today. They live in a house that is so spectacular. I visited this home some years ago, and it is one of the most exceptional homes I've ever seen. It was featured on Oprah as one of America's smartest homes. They have an incredible loving relationship. They're the sweetest couple I've encountered, and they've been together now for almost 34 years. They seem to defy aging. Both of them are in their 50s, but if you see this picture of John, there's something bizarre about this man. He doesn't seem to age. And Missy is equally gorgeous. They seem to have this amazing radiance and energy about them that just draws people to them. Some of the world's smartest people come to them, come to their home to learn from them on how to truly master life. But John and Missy are no saints. They are not personal growth teachers. They are just artists who ended up building one of the most successful art businesses in the United States, Precious Moments. John is the chairman of Precious Moments, that company that you may have heard of that builds these little porcelain dolls. Precious Moments is a company that has done $12 billion in sales. And John, as the chairman, has been able to not just thrive as an entrepreneur, but thrive in every other dimension of life. 3 months every year, they leave their beautiful home, pull their kids out of school, and live in a different country. They have moved their family to places diverse as Bali or Cairo in Egypt. And they've created a life where they have the freedom to do this with their children while still running incredibly powerful, large companies. Most of us assume that we live a life stuck in one city. Most of us assume that aging is a part of life. Most of us assume that relationships are hard, that parenting is hard. Most of us assume that you gotta make sacrifices. You can crush it at work and be a millionaire, but you might sacrifice your body or you might sacrifice your relationships. What if all of that is just another bullshit lie? What if there is a mechanism where you can have it all, but our broken education system, our media and our culture simply brainwash us to not see this possibility? Well, that's the subject of this masterclass. What we're going to do is disrupt your perception of life itself. We're going to disrupt so many ideas that have been implanted in you in who you have to be and how your life should unfold. And in the process, as you meet this remarkable couple, you're going to see just how bold you can take your life. And remember, they started out in farm country in Illinois. When you hear their story, you're going to be really blown away. So let's welcome on set, John and Missy Butcher.
Damn.
Wow. I am speechless.
God damn, Vishen.
I don't even know what to say. Holy shit. I'm like watching you thinking, who are these fabulous people?
And the funny thing is, you guys don't even know how much of an outlier you guys are in terms of the life you lead.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, Bishop.
But hearing that coming from you, it's startling.
Shocking.
It's like, wow, we did that?
Really?
Yeah, I guess we did.
And your pretty snazzy dresses too. So let's get started. Pretty much everyone in the Mindvalley community has heard of Lifebook. This Lifebook, for many of us, it's our most precious possession. I remember a story from Lisa Nichols. So get this. Lisa told me the story about how after she took Lifebook, she was moving house. So she was driving with a U-Haul behind her car. And a U-Haul, for those of you outside the US, is it's sort of like a truck that you transport all your goods with. She had all her goods at the back of her car. But on the passenger seat right next to her, it was this. It was a life book.
Nice.
And so this is such a valuable possession for so many of us, because in this book is the map, the vision, the business plan of our entire life.
Exactly.
And the big question for you guys, I guess, which I know people are wondering, is why? How? Why? Where did this idea come from?
Well, let's see.
Good question.
We created Lifebook for ourselves. It started about 25 years ago, and Vishen, frankly, Lifebook is a result of the most difficult thing that I ever went through in my life. About 25 years ago or so, I had what just has to be characterized as a nervous breakdown. I was carrying so much. I was CEO of 5 different companies and had my kids, and just attending to this world that was giant all on my shoulders. And at some point, it just got to be too much, and I found myself in a severe anxiety disorder, where it generalized into what's called agoraphobia. Have you ever heard of that term?
No.
It's basically where you're housebound. You can't even go. My anxiety was so bad.
He couldn't go to the grocery store. He couldn't leave the house. He couldn't even drive the car to the mailbox.
I was a wreck, dude.
Yeah.
I was a complete wreck. Like I could not function, and I remember calling the people that were running my businesses, and I was like, look, I'm done for now. No replacement strategy. I literally cannot come into work. You're going to have to, for at least the next couple months, you're going to have to figure it out on your own. I'm looking over the edge of a very scary place, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do. You know, so that's where I was, and it was not a good place.
It was really, really hard. Especially, it was hard just for the whole family. But for me, I felt like a bystander.
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything. This was absolutely an internal situation that was happening for him.
And at the same time, if it wouldn't have been for you, there's no way I would have ever made it through. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. My dad called me up one day and he said, John, I was watching late night TV last night and I found 2 things that I ordered for you. The first one was a program by a lady named Lucinda Bassett called Attacking Anxiety. And this apparently is something that will explain what's happening to you and maybe help you through this. And the second is by a guy named Anthony Robbins, and the program is called Personal Power 2. And I bought them both for you, and I hope that they help. Well, I had never...
They were exactly what he needed. They were exactly what you needed.
I'd never done any personal development before in my life. But I mean, at that point, I was willing to try anything. That put me on the path to personal development. And so I got to the point within a couple months where I was somewhat functional, at least enough to say, okay, I'm going to create a strategy now. And I started doing personal development programs in earnest. And the very first versions of my very first life book were nothing more than, it was a place where I was keeping all of my notes. I was keeping track of my self-work. I was keeping the great ideas that mattered. I was putting goals in there. I was putting my hopes and aspirations for being able to get my shit together and you know, become a functional person again.
This was the very first version of the very first life book.
And so that's where Lifebook started. And then from there, I finally was able to get, you know, to get okay again. It took quite a while for me to get okay.
So Lifebook wasn't to you just the vision of this beautiful life that you guys wanted to build. Lifebook, in a way, was your way of pulling you out of this extreme situation you were in.
Yeah, I could have called it Life Raft at that point. So literally, and so and that's exactly how it started. But then. After I got a grip on my life again, I had this tool in place, and I'd started categorizing my life, and it became this incredible tool that ended up giving us a crystal clear vision for the life that we wanted to create together, and then it evolved into what it is today.
Now, there's something else really fascinating about you guys, which I think is worth pointing out. You guys came from poverty. I mean, when both of you met, Missy, you were working as a checkout girl, right?
I was actually a bagger.
You were a bagger.
It's not a very flattering word.
No, checkout is above this.
I was 17. I would like put your groceries
But
in
you
a
grew
bag.
up in a farm, right?
Yeah,
Like
on a
you guys
farm,
did
yeah.
not grow up wealthy.
No.
Your father was at one point a starving artist.
Yes, exactly.
And all of a sudden, Precious Moments, the company takes off. And Precious Moments went on to do something like 12 billion in sales. You had about hundreds of millions of dollars flowing through your household.
Right, yeah, that's true.
And to many people, that would destroy them. I mean, people who are coming from poverty and all of a sudden they are accessing this amount of wealth that's not always healthy. It destroys people. It sets up the wrong value system, the wrong visions for their life. And maybe in some way it did disrupt you, because I know your family went through incredible turmoil. I think you guys lost
a couple brothers.
Lost a couple of brothers to addiction. But you survived, and both of you survived. And was Lifebook a reason for that?
Well, here I believe that my anxiety disorder was caused to a certain extent by that incredible energy flow through our lives. It was too much to hold up.
It was very fast too.
Yeah.
It was within a year or two, just like, whew, so it was really, really fast. And I think that is exactly
It was
what
life in the
happened.
fast lane. I mean, that's what it was. Lifebook then was what I created as my tool to help me get out of that at first. And then once I was relatively healthy again, this tool became the tool that we used to design and then eventually create the extraordinary life that we have. So much gratefulness.
So grateful, so grateful.
So, for those of you watching, I want you to think about something. If you open up Instagram today, if you open up Facebook, you will see that there are dozens of people who are talking about how wonderful it is to be wealthy. There are dozens of coaches who put up pictures posing next to their private jet or so-called private jet or their Bentley, talking about hard work, talking about hustle, talking about getting rich. Nothing wrong with that. But I want you to know that in reality, money alone can really mess you up.
That's right.
If you don't have a firm grip on what a truly remarkable life is really about, because it's not just about money. Money alone can really, really, really put people in a disastrous situation.
So true.
One of the reasons why Lifebook is such a beautiful program is because it's getting you to pay attention to not just financial goals, but your emotional goals, the persistent emotional states you want to be in, your character, so you don't get corrupted by the money, your vision for your relationship, for your parenting life, for your body. And I wish everyone I know who's an entrepreneur playing at a big level would pay attention to this, because I know so many men and women who are doing so well in life financially. I know men and women who have sold their companies in Silicon Valley for hundreds of millions, and they're my age, and they look 20 years older.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
So I want you to ask yourself, if you've placed money as your number one priority, if you place wealth as that number one goal, and maybe if you need to be looking more holistically and also thinking about your goals for aspects such as the type of body you want to have, your emotional state, your longevity, your family, your friends, because these things are really important too. Okay, back to John and Missy. So this tool creates massive transformation in the lives of people who do it. What's causing that?
Consciousness. The level of consciousness that you bring to your life through the process of putting your life book together. You think about your life deeply in 12 different areas, and what emerges from that is a crystal clear picture of the person that you want to become and the life that you want to live, called your life vision. Very few people have that, and that is such an incredibly valuable thing to have, because without it, without a clear picture of where you want to end up, you have no decision-making framework with which to guide your daily choices and actions. You can go off here, you can go off there, if you don't have a North Star. And that's what I think Lifebook does more than anything else. What do you think, Sweetie?
I think I would add to that. I think that the first part of Lifebook is very much about self-discovery and really getting to know who you are, really finding out who you are, finding yourself, really. And then once you do that, then you know what you want, because a lot of people don't even know what they want.
Most people.
Yeah. And I think it's because they don't know who they are. Right. So once you find out who you are, then you can really see where you want to go. And Life Vision is the I think it's the biggest tool that we've used in our life to get where we are now.
Missy and I, since that time 25 years ago, and that's what really pulled us out, or pulled me out of this emotional angst that I was in, was a crystal clear vision of, look, there's hope. I'm going to get there. Yeah. I know exactly where it is. I'm going to get there. I know the action steps that I need to take. And over time, I was able to get there. Having a life vision is so important, especially in the 21st century vision, when we are beset on all sides every second of the day by people trying to get us to do what they want us to do. Every advertiser, every corporation. Let me just think about YouTube. All YouTube wants you to do is watch videos continuously, and they wrote algorithms to get you to do that. The smartest people in the world are working every second of every day to figure out how to get you to do what they want you to do. If you don't have a clear vision for where you want to take your life, you're in danger of being swept up by somebody else's vision, and you'll never end up in that beautiful, extraordinary place that you could.
And it's not just media and television, it's our culture as well.
Totally.
So think about this for a moment. How many ads do you see a day, right? I think the average person in the Western world sees about 100 to 300 advertisements every single day. Even if you're surfing Instagram, even if you're on YouTube, those videos are being served to you to design certain behavior. And so if you don't have a life vision, you're going to be living someone else's vision for you. Now, part of that brainwashing also comes from society. So think about this for a moment. Our education system gets us to focus, to primarily set goals in two things: your financial life, how much money you have, and your career. What's your title, what's your job, and so on, right? And it forgets the other 10 categories, which you guys have brilliantly outlined in Lifebook. I mean, we go to school and they don't tell us anything about how to create a vision for being a good spouse in a relationship, or being a good parent. They don't teach us anything about how to create a vision for our health, or a vision for our persistent emotional states, or our character, or our social life. These are among the categories in Lifebook. And so we create these people who are tiny slices of what human potential should be.
So true.
They're obsessed with career and money, and it's a broken way of living.
Yeah.
It's not balanced.
And
even if you achieve success there, you're not going to end up being fulfilled.
Right, because success and fulfillment are two completely different things.
Exactly.
So I bet most of you watching this have goals, right? Because you're into personal growth, you probably have goals. I also bet most of you watching this, 50% or more of your goals would fall under career and finance. And I want to suggest that that may be a little unhealthy. And so I want you to pay attention to what you're about to learn, because this is about how you can create a truly 360 vision of your life. That's about balance. And ask yourself, what percentage do you think, and I want you to then go and actually check your goal list, what percentage of your goal list is actually finance and career alone? So how can we, John, ensure that when we're creating a vision for our life, that vision is truly all-encompassing?
Well, I'll tell you how we do it at Lifebook Vision. We take a look at the 12 most important areas of your life, and we help you create a vision in each of those areas. And then we take those areas and we add them up to one life vision. So we ask you, what is your vision? What is your ideal state of health and fitness? What does that look like? Is it a level of health and fitness that you used to have when you were younger? Or is it something you've never experienced before that you'd like to experience at some point in the future? What does your ideal love relationship look like? What did that look and feel like? What would your ideal situation in that area be? We go all the way through the 12 categories. And your life vision then is a result of a combination of those individual visions, which means nothing's left out. Nothing's left behind or left to chance. You know what your life looks like across every incredibly important category.
Yeah, it's about bringing consciousness to these other aspects of your personality or of your life. It's not just your finances and your career. You have others. You have love. You have parenting, possibly. You have your character, your intellectual. There's a lot of parts to you, and bringing consciousness, just simply bringing the consciousness to those other aspects, it's like you get to know yourself, and it wakes them up, and it brings it all together.
And I want to say something about career and financial, as they relate to these other categories. There's an interesting thing that happens when you get your health and fitness under you. You're able to think more clearly. You're able to bring more energy to your career. That supports your career and financial life. If you have a hosed up love relationship where you're in constant angst because you've got a love relationship that drains your energy instead of adds to your energy, well, that doesn't help your financial life and your career. So this is called category interconnectivity. Literally, the other categories of your life, if you bring consciousness to them, will support your career and financial. So it's a really interesting thing. People who block out all the other categories of their life because they're so career focused are literally not doing the best strategy there.
Well, they're not even thinking of their life in a holistic way. They're not consciously thinking, I'm this whole thing of all these aspects. I'm just my career. I'm just my financial.
You're right. And there's a lot of data for that right now.
That's absolutely right.
Sri Kumar Rao, who's one of the top MBA professors in the world, he has boldly said that the problem with MBA schools today is that they don't teach you that the number one thing in your life should be your personal growth. Because if you grow, your business will grow.
For sure.
But most people give up their growth.
That's right.
Yeah.
And get so obsessed with their career that they break down. And if you lose your health, if you lose your marriage, you're not going to be at your best self for your career.
So true.
And so Lifebook creates that balance.
Right.
Now, I want to acknowledge and I want to share a couple of things that I learned from you guys as a couple. And I want you guys to pay attention to this as well, because this might be a powerful idea for you as well. So the first scenario I was in, and Lifebook helped shift me. In November 2016, as you guys recall, we had lunch together in Tempe, Arizona, right? And John, you showed me this picture. So guys, put up this picture. This is a picture of John without his shirt on at the age of 29 and 49. And you were talking about how when we set a vision for our life, what often happens is that our beliefs change. And as our beliefs change, our reality changes. So I had this belief that I had to age. I mean, I grew up in a family where my grandfather died at 65 of cancer. And I just assumed that I'd be lucky to hit 70. And so I expected myself to get older. But since that lunch that we had in November 2016, I started working on shifting my health. And I changed my belief system to believe that aging was optional. Now let me put up this picture. This is something I shared on Instagram last month. So guys, if you can put up this Instagram post, this is a 2-year difference in my health. I actually lost a ton of body fat.
You got younger in 2 years.
I got younger. my biological age shifted.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't happening through magic. It wasn't that just putting this down in my life book helped me shift that. It was because by talking to you, by seeing what is possible, my belief framework shifted. And when my belief shifted, I started doing the right things. I started taking the right action. I started operating as if aging was optional. And I found that, for me at least, there was a massive shift. My hair stopped falling out, which was fascinating.
Amazing.
Wow.
And my hair stopped getting gray. And I was so worried about that 2 years ago. Now, I don't know why, because I spoke to doctors and they said there's nothing you can do about it. But literally, my hair stopped falling out. I had a bald patch appearing here. It's no longer there.
Incredible.
And grayness went away. And I'm now 42. So I want to see if I can carry the spot till I'm 60. But either way, it's a fun adventure. So notice what happened when you set a vision for your health. And most of us don't do this. You can literally see your entire body shape change. So I want to share another example. One of the categories in Lifebook, which is really intriguing, is your vision for the environments you're in. And most people don't do this. I bet most of you listening may not have actually consciously set goals for the type of hotels you want to stay in, the type of Airbnbs, the type of home you want to have, the type of office space you want to have. These are our environments, and I learned this from you guys. And so we started investing, and I started setting visions for the environments I want. And the reason that today our office is under mass construction is because we have a vision for a new style of office that is meant to be inspired by Japanese Zen gardens.
Beautiful.
And so I know that my home, my office, the hotels I stay in are all the most beautiful environments, but I never had that as a goal. You know, for the first 8 years of running this business, I had a tiny apartment and it was miserable. We didn't have a guest room. If we had guests over, they would sleep on the couch, and this was me, and it was because I had no vision for the type of environment that I wanted. That was something else that I learned from Lifebook. I was just obsessively focused on finance and career, not realizing that life was so much bigger. So think about these for a moment. Do you have a vision for your health? Do you have a vision for your environment? All of these and the other categories of Lifebook, when you put it together, create a truly holistic life vision.
And one more thing, Vishen, all that stuff blew up your career and financial life.
It did.
I mean, that's where it came from, your new level of health and fitness.
Why is that happening? Why is that happening?
Well, we call it category interconnectivity. And it's interesting the way that it works. But what we've really been studying the science for the last 20 or so years of what categories support the other categories. So for instance, the support category for your career is literally health and fitness. Why? Because if you've got your health under you at the highest levels, you have more energy.
Right.
You will think more clearly. You will be more attractive. I'm not necessarily talking about physically beautiful. I'm talking about vibrant and attractive to people. You'll be more powerful. You'll be able to get more done. That's just one little example. We say a win anywhere is a win everywhere. It goes all the way across the board.
Because it is one thing. Your life is one thing.
Exactly.
These categories are just different aspects of your one life, your one vision for yourself.
Yeah.
And anytime you make an improvement anywhere, because it's all connected, it's one thing, there's just 12 pieces to it.
Exactly. So I'm going to give you, our home was literally designed as a creative space to get amazing work done. And so we know the power of being in the right environment. Our home, fortunes have been made in that home. It's specifically designed to make that happen.
And it's very healing. It is kept, I think it's part of our youth strategy, because we've got plants and water and all the things we love.
Exactly. So all of these things in the other categories, love is another category that can be hugely supportive or detrimental to your career and your financial life, depending on the...
Well, just think about it. Here's an example. If you're in a fight with your lover and you go to work, you're not going to show up and be your best self.
Yep.
Or if something's going on with your kids, you're not going to... They're all pieces of who you are.
Exactly.
And it's just they add up to be you.
So when you dial in these other categories that some of which you've never really thought about before, it can create the biggest surge in your career and financial life you can imagine.
Right. And what you just said, Missy, is so true. For those of you watching, I'd like you to make note of a really important point here. If you are in a job, you want to focus and go deep in one category. So for example, if you're a filmmaker, you don't want to suddenly say, oh, I think I want to learn copywriting, or maybe I should learn some coding. No, you go deep in filmmaking because it's such a deep field and you become the best damn filmmaker, and this is what grows your career. Likewise, if you're a programmer, you don't suddenly go and become a graphic designer. You go deep into programming and become one of the masters in that particular field, and you grow your career. But life isn't like that. Life isn't about going deep in one category. John and Missy have outlined 12 different categories, and life is about having balance in these 12 categories. If you don't have balance in these 12 categories, even if one is off balance, what happens is your life can go astray.
Totally.
If you are not in control of your emotional states,
done.
Everything else is out. If you don't have the right character, you're gonna pretty much
have a hard time.
Right, and give other people a hard time.
Yeah, that's right.
If you don't have a healthy love relationship, that's going to drag down everything else, right?
That's right.
But people don't get that.
Right.
And so people obsessively buy into this bullshit in our education system that life is only about how much money you have and what title you have in your career. And that's really a key idea that I want you guys to make a note of. So John, Missy, there's this belief out there that you can't have it all, right? In fact, it's a common saying, you can't have it all. What's your opinion on this?
It doesn't happen often, which is why people think that it's impossible. But it is absolutely possible. We call it living a 12-category smart life. That's it. paying attention to each of these areas and being absolutely committed to creating excellence across the board. So I think it's important, if we're going to talk about having it all, to define that term, because it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. To us, having it all means an extraordinary life that works at a high level in every important area. Nothing is left behind or left to chance or left out. Because like we've been talking about here, you can have everything working great except your health and fitness, and what do you have? You know?
True.
You can have everything working great except you're getting ready to get a divorce because you couldn't dial that category, and your whole life is a shambles. Just that one thing can completely knock you off balance. So it is absolutely possible to have it all, but it takes a tremendous amount of consciousness, and it takes
Disciplined consciousness, I would say.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It takes getting clear on what having it all looks like for you. Our 20 years of deep research and experience across these 12 categories has shown us one thing as clear as a bell, and that is that without a clear life vision, without a crystal clear image of what you want your future to be like, an extraordinary life is impossible to you. A life vision doesn't just help it happen faster, it doesn't just make it easier. Your life vision is the absolute foundational, non-negotiable prerequisite for creating an extraordinary life, because you can't have it all unless you know what it is. And what it is going to be different for every single person. You have to take responsibility to think through that yourself. But once you do, and once you have a clear picture of what that is, something happens that's very interesting. You know, it's like that picture of me at 29 and 49 vision. I never set a goal to be in better shape in my 50s than I was in my 20s. Never set a goal for that. I never had a strategy to make that happen. What I had was a crystal clear vision, and that was my North Star. And so I just automatically made the choices and actions that were consistent with that vision.
Share your vision, because I think it's interesting. It was your vision was that you are an athlete,
right? To
be an athlete forever, for as long as he's alive.
I am a strong, muscular
Beautiful.
athlete, and I will be for the rest of my life. That was what that picture meant for me, and that was my belief. And that belief, your beliefs control your behaviors. Wow. And boom,
Yeah.
and so over the years, it just kind of it happened because of a crystal clear vision that I was committed to achieving. So it didn't take all this charging toward my goals every second of the day. It just became who I was. I stepped into that vision, and that's what Lifebook can do for you across the board in your life.
I want to go into the 4 principles. Now, the first one, Missy, is something you brought up. It's about knowing who you are. Let's explore that.
So many people come to Lifebook and they don't know exactly what they want. And the first thing in knowing what you want is finding out who you are. So that's one of the first steps in life visioning, is to find out who you are. That way you'll know what you want. Because if you can discover that, and then on top of that, once you do find out who you are, and what you want comes from that, then you need to also reflect and always trust your own inner knowing, because that's the mechanism that works. Once you know who you are, then you can start trusting that, and then you're self-guided, and that's a good way to get to your vision.
We've discovered that most people just don't have any kind of a strong sense of who they are, what they want, their own identity. They just sort of float from one situation to another. They react to life instead of driving their own ship. You know what I'm talking about, Vision? They don't have any sense that they are in the driver's seat, that they're the decision maker at the center of their own existence. Rather, they react to life and they sort of float like a piece of driftwood wherever the tide of life happens to take them. So one of the things that we really do is we really help people get in deeper touch with who they are, what their life is all about, why they're here, and what they want. And that's an incredibly powerful process to go through.
Just asking those few questions, it completely opens you up, and it's a huge self-discovery. So many people haven't ever thought, what do I really believe in this specific category? What I really truly believe.
And
write it down.
Their beliefs that are down there that they don't know are controlling their behaviors.
Right.
This is why it's so incredibly important.
And all of these answers are inside each one of us. And they're all specifically unique to each one of us. So that's why each one of us must find ourselves, and then we can self-direct ourselves. That is the awakening that is happening, and it needs to continue to happen. And that's why we want to get to 1 million people with a life book.
I love that you guys are doing that. Human beings, I think, have a great desire to fit in. It's an evolutionary desire to be part of a tribe. But the danger of that desire is that we get overwhelmed by culture, by media, by religious ideas. And so most people are not living their true lives.
Exactly.
They're living the lives expected of them.
That's right.
Within that community or that culture or that framework of living that they've been trained. And this is why, if you actually look at the statistics today, according to Gallup, 85% of people dislike their jobs. And it's because most of us are preconditioned. Now, what I like and appreciate about Lifebook is you're not just getting people to write down goals. Within each category, you're actually going deep into your beliefs about health, your beliefs about emotions, your beliefs about character. You're going into your vision.
Right.
So your belief, then your vision, your strategy, and your why. Why do you want that health, right? And so that's part of the exercise. Those of you who take the program, that's part of the thinking framework that you will go through. But by going deep within those 4 aspects, you really help unprogram people from the vast cultural programming that's guiding us.
We help them get in touch with
moving us,
themselves.
as you said, like driftwood.
Right.
We help them get in touch with their true inner nature, their true aspirations, and that's so important. You're right, that can all get covered up in today's society.
So that first principle is know who you are.
Yes.
Now the second principle has to do with motivation or the lack thereof.
So what we've discovered at Lifebook is that motivation pales in comparison to purpose, deep driving purpose. Your purpose is what's going to determine whether or not you achieve your vision in any category of life. For instance, vision, everybody knows pretty much how to get in shape. Start eating right and start exercising. That's how to do it. But we all struggle with that. Why? It's not the how, it's the why. There's a great quote, take care of the why and the how will take care of itself. So one of the things that we spend so much time on in Lifebook, after you define what you want, we want you to develop a strong inner purpose for what you're going to gain in your life if you do that, and what you're going to lose if you don't accomplish that vision.
And the purpose means that you're self-fueled.
Correct.
Right? It's intrinsic. It's not
a perfect
extrinsic.
term.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't need motivation. You really, the motivation comes from within.
Right.
You are self-propelled.
What you guys are saying reminds me of a quote from Michael Beckwith. You guys may have heard me talk about this quote before. Michael Beckwith said, motivation is bunk. When you are fueled by an inner purpose,
Absolutely.
you don't need motivation. And he goes on to say, you can need to be pushed to get to your goal. And that's typically when the goal is not yours.
That's right.
Right? You're just blindly following someone else's goal.
Or it's not a great goal for you.
Well, you just said it, you're being pushed.
You're being pushed.
You're being pushed by some other force.
You can be pushed or you can be pulled by a vision.
Beautiful.
And when you go within and figure out that vision pulls you. And that's when you don't need motivation.
100%.
That's right. And when you do get that, when you start that process and you get that vision, then it almost speeds up. You get pulled farther and more, and things will change, and you'll take action in accordance with that vision once you have the vision.
That's beautifully said. That's a really interesting idea. Motivation is needed when you're chasing someone else's goal. Now let's go on to principle number 3, the decision-making framework.
Right. So a clear life vision, one of the most important things that it gives you is a decision-making framework. Meaning, if you know exactly where you want to end up, all of your choices and actions that you make are consistent with that direction, with that North Star. In this day and age when we're so surrounded by so many distractions, we can zing off over here and zing off over there. We can take somebody up on their offer here, and I mean, we can end up so far away from what we ever wanted. Having that North Star, having that life vision, allows you to align all of your choices and actions in a way that creates, it basically gets them all flowing like a river in the same direction. And it creates a power that you can't get any other way.
No, that's true. I mean, I think, again, finding out who you are, knowing what you want once you find out who you are, and then you go through this process of finding out the purpose and the vision for each one of these pieces. Then you have the beautiful privilege to start trusting your own intuition. Mm-hmm. So this framework, this decision-making framework, it's all your words that you've pulled out of yourself to create, this life that you want to live. Perfect example, in our love relationship, my vision is this beautiful, amazing, sacred union. So if I'm going through my day and I'm a little grouchy or something, my vision is big. My vision is this beautiful sacred moment, or this relationship. So I'm not going to maybe indulge in something that may make me feel good in the moment if I'm going to lash out at John if I'm upset or something like that, because I have that vision pulling me forward.
Exactly.
So literally it shows up in your daily actions by
over and over.
And it's that pulling
You're
it
able
forward.
to give up that short little emotional outburst that you would otherwise indulge in because you've got a stronger vision, you've got a stronger purpose.
Beautifully said. So your daily actions are shifting.
Right. They start to align with your vision and your purpose.
You're being pulled by
and that happens
vision.
in every category of life vision.
Yeah.
Well, it's what I was saying about my 29-49 picture. It just, you start to make correct daily choices and actions aligned with your vision, and it really does take on an almost automatic quality to it.
And the final principle is the principle of contradiction.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people without a clear life vision tend to set goals that are literally contradictory with each other, or can be contradictory, as opposed to aligned. So if you have a life vision, it puts you in a completely different goal-setting world because all of your goals are flowing like a river in the same direction. They're all consistent. They're all moving in the same direction. If you don't have that, for instance, you have a big career goal that you want to set. And so you're going to launch a new startup or whatever your big career goal is. This is going to take 100 hours a week, and you're for sure going to set that. You go over here and you set a love relationship goal, and you want to have the best love relationship ever. Well, that's going to take some time too, right? Or a health and fitness goal that you're going to have to put some time and energy into. If you haven't thought through your singular life that you're trying to create, that career goal can totally knock your love relationship goal out of play. Or your health and fitness goal can completely knock your career goal out of play. So basically, having a clear life vision ensures consistency as opposed to contradiction in your goal sets. That's what we've discovered.
Right. And as you said before, you can have it all. I want you guys to ask yourself a brutally honest question, because I had to ask myself this question over and over again as I did Lifebook, right? Are there areas of your life that you are sacrificing right now? Like, are you the guy or the girl who is working really hard, succeeding at their career, but you feel that you just aren't doing well with your kids or your spouse, or your relationships are suffering? Or are you that person with a great body, but you're broke? Or are you the person who has a good number in your bank account, but really feel lonely because you don't have the right goals for social connection? Many of us fall into those traps. But when you start looking at this from a holistic way and creating a complete life vision, you understand that you don't have to be there.
That's exactly right.
That this whole idea that you can't have it all is a myth.
Right. It is. No, it does take work, and it does take focus, and it does take commitment.
It takes discipline.
But it is absolutely possible. And I want to just explain the end game, because the end game is something that most people have never had any experience with. There's an Oliver Wendell Holmes quote that's so beautiful that Missy and I have been living our life by for the last 15 years. He said, "I wouldn't give a fig for simplicity on this side of complexity, but I'd give my life for simplicity on the far side of complexity." And here's what that means.
Good, because I was about to say,
I know, but here's what that means.
Took me a while too.
When you put the time and effort in to work through the complexity of your life, to get your systems and processes set up in your health and fitness so that you know what works, you know what workouts work, you know what your diet should be, you've got it in place. It took some energy to get it in place, but it's in place now. You've worked hard on your love relationship. You don't have to put a tremendous amount of energy drain into it every day. You've got your career and financial life dialed in. You've worked hard on yourself, your character, your emotions. You've worked through the complexity. You come to a point where it takes on an automatic quality and doesn't require this immense energy output every second of the day. And you can start to enjoy a life that's big and beautiful and successful,
and
but it's
simple.
also simple. An example, one of our mutual friends, Richard Branson. This is a guy who has 150 companies, and yet he's taken time to hang out with us on Necker Island, have champagne. He's worked through complexity to where he's got a relatively simple life, but a big, amazing life on the far side of complexity. That's the holy grail of living as a human being on this planet.
Wow.
Having
That's
a life,
powerful
isn't that
idea.
beautiful? Having a life that is fulfilling and big and exciting.
But that's the hero's journey.
It is. It's the hero's journey.
That's the hero's journey.
And that's what we've been working on for the last few years, and that's what we're helping other people work on.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks.
So at this point, we've gone deep into the philosophy of creating a holistic life vision. We have looked at the overarching need on why it is that we need to go beyond just regular goal setting, to shut out some of the voices outside us, to go within and to create a life vision that's true to who we want to be. You've heard about the importance of truly knowing who you are through a life vision. That was one of the first principles. The second was why when you start having this life vision come from within, motivation becomes unnecessary because you are pulled by a vision. You do not need to be pushed. Third, we have looked at how the right life vision becomes a decision-making framework for you. So on a day-to-day basis, you are taking the right action to build up to this incredible life. You've looked at the problems that we can face in life if we don't have a life vision. Problems such as contradictory visions clashing, or problems such as being exceptional in one area but failing in another, and not seeing how when it comes to creating a life, it's not about focusing on one, it's about being balanced in all of these different aspects. And you've heard about how we need to look at life through 12 categories, and within these 12 categories, ask ourselves the fundamental life book questions. So what we want to do next is basically have John and Missy guide you through an exercise. I want to make sure that you guys are not driving or operating a chainsaw or anything as we go through this. You want to be able to focus. But for those of you who might have to leave early, I want to tell you about Lifebook, because what I'm about to say may sound unbelievable to some of you, but it's real, and we've been testing this out on people. And as radical as this idea is, it's been like mind-blowing. So Lifebook has always been a really premium seminar. People pay $7,500 to attend Lifebook. I remember when I attended it in 2010 with my wife, because we were going as a couple, we both paid around $5,000 each, and both of us have our Lifebooks, and it changed our lives, and it was money well spent, right? But it's always been something for truly wealthy people, because not everyone can spend $5,000. And when we started working together, I know we had a discussion, and John, Missy, one of the things that you guys said is, you want to get this out to 1 million people.
That's right.
And you also said this. You said, Vishen, I'm not like a regular author. Like, I don't need to make my money from Lifebook, because you have like, what, 20 other businesses? And so the question was, how do we get this out to 1 million people? And the only way to do that is to make it affordable to everyone.
Right.
And so as we were brainstorming in Bali 2 years ago, a radical idea emerged. And that idea is what if we could take Lifebook and deliver it online? So online videos over 6 weeks, going through all 12 categories and creating an online version of Lifebook. But here's the kicker. Not doing this for $7,500, but being able to bring the price all the way down to $1,250, right? So that's a fraction. But then we thought, look, $1,250, well, what about people, you know, in the developing world? What about people outside the United States? We want this to hit 1 million people. So what if we could create an opportunity where you get to go through Lifebook and you only pay if you want to? Okay, now, this sounds so radical that most of you are thinking can't be true, but this is what we did. From $1,250, we brought the price down to $500. by opening it up to thousands of people. But we did this. You only pay if you want to. So this is Lifebook Online by Mindvalley. $500. You attend the full Lifebook program for 6 weeks. And at the end of the 6 weeks, if you complete your Lifebook, and you decide if you complete, because you're going through this on an app, we can see the chapters, you decide if you complete. At the end of that 6 weeks, you can shoot one email and get your $500 back. So if you can't afford it, just get your money back. If you love it, if you think the experience is amazing, and you want Lifebook by Mindvalley to be able to keep that $500, you don't have to ask for your money back. So that's really the program we created. Now I want you to think for a moment. What other personal growth person would do something like that, right? So when we planned this, we estimated that roughly half the people would ask for their money back, even if they had a great experience, because $500 is a lot for a lot of people, right? Imagine if you are someone in China or India, and we still want to give accessibility to these people. But that initial $500 is almost like a deposit, and it is important because it shows commitment.
Right.
If we just made it free, what happens is people don't appreciate what's free.
They won't finish.
Right, they won't finish. So it's $500, and at the end, you can let Lifebook keep the money if you feel that we delivered like the best experience possible, or you can ask for that back. Now, what we found that it wasn't 50% of people who asked for their money back. It was a tiny slice, so tiny it became irrelevant.
That's true.
And so initially, we opened this up just for a select group of Mindvalley people, about 1,000 people, and then we opened it up to another group, around 2,000 people, and we found that the results were fairly consistent. That people could be trusted, that people were exceptionally honest, that there were people who couldn't afford it, who got their money back, and they still gave in glowing testimonials, and they genuinely couldn't afford it, right? They were in countries like the Philippines where the income level is so much lower, but we got to shift in a short amount of time. We got, what, like 5,000 people got a Lifebook?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing.
And that gets us closer to our goal.
Right.
The one thing is you have to finish it.
You have to finish it.
If you don't finish it, you can't get your money back. Our mission is 1 million people with a Lifebook.
With a finished Lifebook.
So if you go through this program and finish it and ask for your money back, you've still helped us get to our vision. But it's not going to help us or you if you don't finish the program. So it's built-in accountability.
So we want to get this out to 1 million people.
That's right.
We are now at 5,000. We got 995,000.
We're on our way.
Right. And this is the first time we've officially opened this up to the public.
That's right.
To the mass public. So you'll learn about that at the end of this masterclass. We'll go a little bit deeper. Now, how about we give you a treat? We take you through a life visioning experience with John that will last about 10 minutes.
Perfect.
Now, I know some of you might be super enthusiastic and you already want to enroll. Below this video, you will see a button where you can enroll, and everything is explained over there. Now, for those of you who are ready for the meditative experience, let's get started.
Just relax now. Take a deep breath. Hold it. And as you exhale, let all the tension out of your body. Just feel how much the music is relaxing you right now. This exercise is blissful and it's easy. Take another deep breath now. Hold it. And as you let it out, let go of any expectations or concerns or worries. You're feeling more and more deeply relaxed now. You're going to allow your future to come to you now, and you'll allow your mind to integrate it and to understand it. It's 5 years from now, and you've worked really hard on yourself and created a truly extraordinary life. You're healthy and strong. You're empowered and confident. You have more healthy self-esteem than you've ever had before. Your new friendships have taken your life to a whole new level. Your new friends inspire you and pull you forward. You seem to attract good people to you. almost as if you've become magnetic. You've taken your career to a whole new level. Just take a moment and be grateful for your dream career. At one point, it seemed out of reach, but finally, the financial abundance has started to flow. You've got the love relationship that you've always dreamed of. Just take a moment and feel how grateful you are for your passionate, exciting, wonderful love relationship. You have it all now. Can you even believe it? Your heart is so full it feels like it's going to burst. And now, gently, staying connected to all those warm, positive emotions, you're going to record what you're experiencing. So if your eyes are closed, let them open easily now, but continue to hold your future in your mind and feel the strength of it and feel the emotion behind it. Take a few moments now to answer the following questions. What is your new level of health and fitness? Are you in the best shape of your life? Are you at your ideal weight? Take a moment now to describe your new level of health and fitness. And now, describe your ideal love relationship. What does it look like? Physically, emotionally, sexually, spiritually? Take a few moments now to describe your dream love life. You have that career that you've always dreamed of. What does it look like? Where are you working? What kind of skills and talents and abilities have you acquired? How much money are you making? Take a few moments and describe the dream career that you're living every day. What does your dream house look like? Where are you living now? What kind of a house are you living in? What does it feel like? Take a moment and describe the dream home that you're living in now. What kind of experiences are you enjoying in your new life? Are you traveling more than you used to? Do you have a lot of excitement and adventure in your life now? Take a few moments to describe the wonderful experiences you're creating for yourself on an ongoing basis. This is your new life, your new level of health and fitness, your fulfilling relationship with your lover, your dream career, your successful financial life, the quality things and experiences you enjoy in your life. You know exactly who you are, you know exactly what you want out of life, and you don't waste time or energy on anything else.
Thank you, John. That was a beautiful experience.
Thank you, Vishen.
So now, there's a lot of people here who want to go deeper in how they can join the Lifebook Online program,
Okay.
right? This is I repeat, the $500 program. Join Lifebook Online. At the end of the program, as you've watched the videos, when you've completed your Lifebook, you have the option of getting that $500 back if you really need the money or if you can't afford it. Our goal is 1 million people with a Lifebook, and we don't want money to be a reason why people don't participate in this and truly get started with creating an exceptional life. We know the more people out there with a Lifebook, the more people will hear about this. So John, let's give them an idea of what this program is going to look like. Firstly, we know it's 6 weeks. What happens in those 6 weeks?
So during those 6 weeks, we're going to take you on a deep dive across the 12 categories of your life. They're basically full-length movies that are interactive, and during each one of these movies, these different categories that we explore, we ask the same 4 questions. Now, these are simple but profound questions, the answers to which comprise your Lifebook. So you can think of any category now, your health and fitness, your love relationship, your financial life. Here are the 4 questions. Question number 1 is, what are my deepest beliefs in this area of my life that control my behavior? That's a big one. That is a big one. And we guide you through the process of identifying your beliefs, some of which will be disempowering, old, worn-out beliefs that you don't need anymore, and you might want to get rid of them and replace them with new, more empowering beliefs, and other beliefs are going to be solid. Bottom line is, at the end of this process, you're going to deeply understand the beliefs that have been driving your behavior across these 12 important categories of life. The second question we asked you is, what exactly do you want in this area of your life? This is called your vision, and it's mind-bogglingly eye-opening to get clear on your vision in every important area of your life. Question number 3, why do I want that? What's my purpose behind my vision? And as Vishen said, that's going to be your internal fuel that drives you to the accomplishment of your aspirations. And then the last question, super simple. If that's my vision, what do I need to do to get it? What's my strategy? And we help you think through your strategies in every important area of your life. So, premise, what do I believe? Vision, what do I want? Purpose, why do I want it? And strategy, what do I need to do to get it? Across 12 categories of your life, the Lifebook process is a guided tour of those different aspects.
And as you go through Lifebook Online, so the Lifebook seminar is 4 days, right? So you're going through 3 categories a day.
Yeah.
Now, as you go through Lifebook Online, it's a slightly different structure.
Right.
It's 6 weeks,
Right.
and you're going through 2 categories a week. So in terms of the coursework for the week, in every week, people spend 90 minutes twice on 2
Right.
categories, so that's 3 hours.
I think the total time that it's going to take in a week, usually for people, is between 5 and 6 hours.
Yeah, I would say a minimum of 4 to 5
Yeah.
is what you need. Yeah.
4 to 5 hours a
Which
week
is
for
it's
6
a commitment.
weeks.
Yeah.
It's a commitment, but what
Right.
else more valuable
It is the
could
single
you?
most important thing.
Exactly.
That's right.
Like, by the way, guys, this is so important. Now, some of you may be thinking 5 hours a week, I don't have time for that. Well, make time. Figure out what is it that you can sacrifice this over these 6 weeks, because this is the most important thing. What you're going to learn here will accelerate everything else.
So true.
That is
You
true.
probably spend 2 hours, like the average person on Mindvalley, 2 hours a week exercising, right? If you have to, like, sacrifice an hour of exercise, because what's going to happen is, as you go through Lifebook after the 6 weeks, everything accelerates.
Exactly.
I can tell you, your exercise routine, the results you get from your exercise will accelerate, because
Very
you would
true.
have fundamentally changed your belief
Yeah.
system about health, about relationship, about parenting. So when I did this, I took time away from my kids so I could go deep. But I can tell you right now, I am such a better parent.
Right.
Because unlike most
That's
parents,
fantastic.
I have my life book with my
beautiful.
visions for
Yeah.
parenting, with my premises for
That's
parenting,
right.
my strategy for
You'll be
parenting.
such a better parent.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
It's great.
you're making a short-term sacrifice for an exceptional life for the rest of your life. Guys, like, no excuse. It is ridiculous if anybody thinks that this is something that
Well, look, how much
they need to
time?
push
How much
off.
time does the average person waste on social media? Just
Right.
cut that out for,
Yeah.
for
Cut out Netflix.
6 weeks.
Cut out
That's
Netflix.
right.
Now here's let me give you some data on how important this is. Today at Mindvalley, everybody who joins Mindvalley, every single person, they take 3 to 4 days off work. We send them to a mountain retreat. There's one batch happening
amazing.
this weekend with
Exactly.
30 new employees,
Yeah.
and they go through their life book, right?
Right.
We are
Amazing.
taking our employees through this. Now, why? Why do we do this? Because we found that our people, after they do Lifebook, they become so much better at their jobs.
Wow.
Because, well, what will happen is that some of them might find that, their visions don't match their career. And that's great. They leave. It's a small number, but that's great. You no longer have unmotivated people in the company. And other people, they suddenly understand how they can choose the right projects, choose the right education, so they can create their vision, and they become hyper productive
Yeah.
people.
I came in
We-
for the video shoot today, and I said, "Where is everybody?" They're at Lifebook in the forest.
Yeah, our office is
and to that
1/3 empty
point,
today.
John and I go through Lifebook every
At least every 2 years.
Yeah, 2 to 3
At
years.
least every time we're at a point
Yeah.
in our lives where we have to figure out something new, or
Yeah.
we're getting ready to step into, we go
Yeah.
through. You literally can't bring too much consciousness
That's right.
to your life.
That's right.
And so you guys really want to make time for this. If you have gotten this far and you're not prepared to make time to really go deep and create a full vision of your life, you don't know just how much you're setting yourself
Right.
back. So here's what it looks like overall, and I'm going to roll some videos so you see an idea of what the Lifebook experience online would look like. Firstly, it's a 6-week program, so every week you will be doing 2 categories. And you get to access this on your smartphone or your tablet or your desktop. Our Mindvalley system is accessible everywhere. And it's a beautiful learning system, one of the most sophisticated in the world. And at the end of 6 weeks, you have all the documents, because you also get templates that you will use to fill out your Lifebook. So you will have all the documents for your Lifebook. You can print these out, put them in a binder, and you now have your Lifebook, and
Right.
it becomes your most prized possession.
Really is true.
Now, a beautiful part about this process is that we're all doing it together. So we're going into this as a community. That means everybody starts together, goes through the program together, finishes together, right? So if you are prepared to wait a year, go ahead. But if you're ready to jump in now and take part in this program and give it your best shot and produce a remarkable Lifebook for yourself, then you want to join the current batch. So you don't have to wait 6 months to 12 months into the future.
Right.
I'd strongly recommend you enroll now. All the information is below. Scroll down and enroll. And as you're doing that, let's go into the FAQs. Now, the first question, John, is how is Lifebook different from other goal-setting programs?
That's a great question, and there are 3 dramatic differences between Lifebook and any other personal development offering. The first one is that Lifebook is fully comprehensive in nature, meaning we look at your entire life, not just 1 or 2 areas of your life, and that really separates it from most other personal development programs out there. Secondly, and this is a really interesting one, it's about the personalization, the customization of Lifebook. Lifebook is an empty system that you fill up with your own stuff. It's fully personalized for you. So the valuable information that you'll gain during the Lifebook program comes from you, not at you. Most personal development programs, the information comes at you. This we pull out of you. That's why everybody loves Lifebook. It's their stuff at the end of the day. Why wouldn't they love it? And then the third dramatic difference has to do with the deliverable at the end of the program. You have this 120-page book that you wrote about the person that you want to become and the life that you want to live. You know, so many times people go to personal development seminars and they leave with a pad full of notes and some good intentions. And then first thing Monday morning, life hits and kind of everything goes back to what it was before. With Lifebook, you've got this incredible tool that you emerge with that you can then build on and use to navigate toward that life that you really, truly want to live. You have anything to add to that, sweetie?
No, I think just having the life vision piece of it all. Lifebook is holistic. It is very holistic because we do deeply examine all these categories. And there's a big aspect of self-discovery with it, which I think is really important. It's super important if you want to figure out what you want, because you have to find out who you are before you figure out what you want.
It's a profound journey of self-discovery that all adds up to one compelling life vision for your life that you can then start to build step by step, day by day.
Second question is, what are the appropriate ages for Lifebook? Can you ever be too old for Lifebook or too young for Lifebook?
You can be too young for Lifebook. So we think that the ideal age probably is, I would say, senior in high school. We've had younger, but I would say that's about where it kicks in. Do you agree with that?
I would say it depends on the child, but 16 to 18 is a good place to start.
A mature 16-year-old. Too old? We've had that question a lot, and we've seen 70 people in their 70s, people in their 80s. You're never too old to decide what the next X amount of years is going to be about. So I don't think there's an upper limit.
And I think I would also say there's not a lower limit, because we've taught our kids the Lifebook principles from the beginning. So not necessarily will they go through the program itself, but if you're a parent and you have little ones, you will absolutely start teaching them some of these principles.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, can you do it with a partner, or should you do it with a partner?
If you are married, you gotta do it with your partner. I mean, you don't have to.
There's 2 schools of thought here, kind of. One is ideally, yes, you do it with your partner, because what we've seen in, you can speak to this, about differences in life vision in a partnership, that's where you hit rough waters.
That's what derails you.
Yeah. So it's very important.
Actually, it's not just differences in life vision. What we've discovered is that 90% of the problems that a couple will have in their marriage is differences in 1 or more of these categories. He's a spender, she's a saver. He's a disciplinarian with the kids, she's lenient with the kids. This is what derails relationships. Lifebook gives you a platform to open up all those discussions and literally get on the same page in every area of life.
It's profound for couples.
It's so great for a couple.
Yeah, I did this with my wife.
Yeah, it's amazing.
8 years ago.
Right.
But if you're someone that is married or with a partner that doesn't enjoy personal development or isn't into it, I would highly recommend coming anyway and just maybe describing or explaining to them that you're going to do this, because it is totally profound and it will affect your relationship even if your partner doesn't come.
Absolutely, that's right, because one person can elevate the relationship and get the other one to follow. But that being said, you really want to come as a couple if you're married, if you can.
Now, do you need any special software or anything to go through the process? Because they are templates that you're giving people, and they are building their life book on these templates. Explain how that works.
I don't fucking know how that works.
I think we have to invent that, actually. I don't think we have that.
We're gonna have to figure that out.
As the humble computer engineer, let me explain how that works. You'll get a template, you'll open it up in Microsoft Word or Apple Pages on your computer.
Yeah.
Most people are going to have one of those two computers.
Yeah.
You're going to fill it out. You're going to drag pictures.
Yeah.
There's a picture library you get as a zip file. It's super easy.
Yeah.
Then you go to this device called a printer and you print it out.
Yeah.
And then you stick it in your leather binder.
That's
So
right.
it's a really, really simplistic process. That's okay. You're an artist. I don't expect you to be a geek.
We need to make beautiful publishing software is what we need to do.
Yeah.
So that comes to the end of our session today with John and Missy Butcher. Can't wait to see you guys in Lifebook. Remember, the next class starts soon. All the information on start dates are below. So this is going to be a truly incredible experience. Now, some of you might be traveling. Maybe on week 2 or week 4, you know it's going to be a crazy busy week for you. It's okay to skip that week and then do that at the end, right? It's not going to derail the process.
Right.
But it's best to join now rather than wait one whole year. And you're always going to have recordings of these videos. So I strongly encourage you to do Lifebook because I've done this process with my family. I do this process with everybody who works at Mindvalley. And I just consider this one of the fundamental things that everybody in personal growth has to do. Because if you aren't clear with who you want to be, if you aren't clear with the type of life you want, if you aren't clear with how your life is going to look in all 12 categories, there's a strong chance that you are not going to be living to your fullest potential. And you're not going to be true to yourself. John, Missy, any closing words?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, Vishen, for helping us bring this out to the world. Our mission is 1 million people with a Lifebook, and we're dead serious about that, which is why we're making this offer. We've removed completely the financial aspects as a consideration. So the only thing left is your commitment to doing this program. That's what you need to bring, is a commitment, because our mission, being 1 million people with a Lifebook, that's what we're after. We believe that'll change the world. 1 million people bringing consciousness to their lives and living self-responsibly.
That's right.
Is what the world needs right now.
That's right. Self-directed people that trust their own intuition, their own gut. That's what we need. That's
Who
what's
know who
gonna,
they are and where they're going.
Then they can help other people. Because
Exactly.
that's what we need to do right now.
I
we
love
need
that
to get
word
to a
you
good
just
space.
said, Missy. Self-directed
Totally.
people
Yeah.
who trust their own gut. So Abraham Lincoln said, if you're going to chop down a tree,
Right.
first thing you need to do is sharpen the axe,
Yep.
right?
That's right.
And it means first thing you got to do is plan. Most people don't do that. Most people go into careers with no freaking plan of where they want to be. They go into marriages with no freaking
Exactly.
plan. They
Right.
become
Yep.
parents with no freaking plan.
Yep.
They join a gym with no freaking plan of where they want to take their health. That's the problem with the world today.
That's
And
right.
with no freaking plan, they get seduced by
That's it.
BS, by the next get-rich-quick scheme, or
Yep.
the next business opportunity, or the next dumb exercise
That's
fad.
right.
And that's the worst way to live your life. But that's the way most people do.
Yeah.
Right? And for those of you who are thinking I'm too busy, that's the stupidest excuse. I'm sorry, but it's
It
the
is.
stupidest
Yeah, it is.
excuse.
It is.
Because it's like going to try to cut that tree the way you've always been trying to cut that tree, with a blunt axe. So first thing you got to do is sharpen that axe.
That's
and
right.
this is really what this is about.
Exactly.
So
Beautiful.
I, even right now, as in the time we're recording this masterclass, I have a commitment with myself where every week I go through a particular chapter of my life book,
Beautiful.
and I
Awesome.
fine-tune it, and I reflect upon
Yep.
it, and I make sure that I'm living life consistent with
It's
my
incredible.
life book. Can't wait to see you guys in this program. All the information is below this video, and this is going to be the start of an incredible year and an incredible life for all of you. Thank you, John and Missy.
Thank you,
so much,
Vishen.
Vishen.
And just in case you're still in the fence, I thought I'd play these videos of other students who have taken Lifebook and have had incredible shifts in their life because of it.
I gotta tell you, when I went through Lifebook, it was the absolute best decision I could have ever made.
Lifebook makes you look deeply in each category of your life.
There are areas that I've never focused on.
I've never gone through a program that allowed me the space, the opportunity, the content, and the direction to so thoroughly orchestrate and navigate my future.
The clarity that Lifebook has given me is to be able to live all those different areas in balance, which overall helps me to achieve my vision and what I want in life.
There's no way I could have just sat down and done this myself, but to have it all systematized for me, spelled out in videos and workbooks, and ultimately designed into this beautiful, powerful book for my life book. It is life-changing.
I think the biggest outtake for me is the importance of planning your life in general.
It's about deep reflection and really gaining that clarity in each and every single category.
I didn't think that it was possible to be successful in all 12 areas of your life. Now, when I see them able to do everything really well, it just totally shifted my paradigm.
When we did Lifebook with Missy and John Butcher,
and we did it together.
We so resonated with the message that they are doing as a couple, because we do that as well.
How you see your love life and how you see your future family and parenting, and this is amazing that we have this opportunity to take it together.
Lifebook is all about making your dreams, that dream come true.
It's not about what you know, it's about asking the right questions.
That I can fix my character.
Committed to share this vision.
Be a successful entrepreneur.
Uplift the homeless community.
So I want to empower young adults and teenagers.
I want to live my life to the fullest potential.